Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of InternMakers. Today we have a very special guest with us, Hugo Castellanos. He's a product marketing manager at Intel.
But we will let him introduce himself more and tell us what he's going to talk to us about today. We specifically chose him for this topic because he's an expert, so we will let him introduce himself first.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Hugo Castellanos. I'm originally from Caracas, Venezuela, and I've been living in the US for 21 years now. I'm a product marketing manager at Intel Corporation, even though I'm an electronics engineer by training. So if you are getting a STEM degree, you can get any job you want.
Nice.
So just keep that in mind.
And something that is really interesting also about Hugo is that he has two podcasts. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about them before we start?
Sure. So my day job is a product marketing manager. So I basically make content for account executives so they can close deals for the enterprise. And I have two podcasts where I interview Latinos that work in the technology industry. So how they got to places like Tesla, Google, LinkedIn. And actually I have two because I do it in Spanish
As well.
as well as in English. So in English that's Latinos Who Tech, and in Spanish that's Conexiones, Historias de Latinos in STEM. And they're both in Spotify, and they'll be down here in the show notes.
Yes, for sure.
But again, networking is a passion for me because just connecting with people at an authentic level, sitting down for half an hour with a friend, just giving them your full attention, making a podcast, that's more powerful than those like 2-3 minute hallway conversations.
Yes. Like quality time, right?
Quality time, definitely. You got it.
Every time.
Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
So,
awesome.
Hugo, would you like to start us off with networking? Why do you think it's important? How has it affected your life?
Networking is the exchange of value between two people while furthering the relationship.
I love that, and that is so important, right?
So it's furthering the relationship. That's
Yeah.
the ultimate thing. And what happens is that when we hear exchange of value, we think that, oh, I'm gonna pay this person money, and that's not it at all. So when you're networking, again, you picture a room full of people with suits exchanging business cards or something like that.
Yes.
And that's not really networking. Networking is actually after you connect with the person, giving them something of value.
Okay.
Maybe you're an intern, you're looking for software engineering positions. Oh, guess what? I'm a friend that is a recruiter at this company and he has openings. So let me connect the two of you together.
Yes.
Because we're exchanging value.
Right.
So in this context of this audience that is looking to have their next internship or the first internship, if you will, networking is crucial because you have gatekeepers for these opportunities, who are the recruiters and the hiring managers.
Okay.
Right.
So when you go to events like career fairs or things of that nature, you want to make sure that you connect with the right recruiters. So if you're studying marketing, make sure you recruit with the marketing recruiter. When you're studying engineering, make sure you connect with a recruiter that focuses on that subject.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And again, so we were talking about this off the air, but what do you think is the goal of a first date?
A first date?
Yeah, what do you think is the goal of a first date?
Well, I would say getting to know the other person.
That's part of it. That's part of it. A good first date would have that. But the goal of a first date is getting a second date.
Oh.
Right. Yeah.
So what happens is that when you connect at a recruiting event or you connect with somebody via LinkedIn, that's only the first touch. That's the first touch of the relationship. And again, you want to have a second, a third, a fourth, and fifth touch. And you want to keep going at it. So, because relationships are like muscles. The more you exercise them, the stronger they get.
Right. Yeah. And you want to maintain those relationships and those networks and just like get them like to expand and grow and
And something that interns worry about when I talk to them, I have mentees that are looking for internships and folks that have been applying for internships at places like Intel where I currently work. And they ask me, oh, okay, I get it. Networking is important. I know that I need to connect with recruiters, but how do I reach out to them via LinkedIn? So like, because I can find the recruiter, but what do I say? What do I write on that box? And you'll be amazed how many students, they just torture themselves thinking, what should I write there? I don't know what to write. Just write that I'm a student at subject XYZ. I'd love to connect with you. Send. And that's the first touch, the second touch, the third touch.
Yeah.
And then after we do like a bit of back and forth,
Yes.
that's what I would say, something like, hey, could you please, I'm really interested in this opportunity. Could you please refer me to it?
Right,
Exactly.
yeah.
A way that you can bypass that and just, again, not bypass it, but just make it quicker, that you don't have to do 3, 4, 5 messages,
Okay.
is if you join a LinkedIn group,
Okay.
because there are LinkedIn groups for all kinds of disciplines.
Okay.
So if you're studying marketing, there's marketing at LinkedIn groups. If you're studying social media management with Twitter, there are groups for that in Facebook, in all the apps. So if you can actually join those groups, you already have something in common with the person.
One person.
So once you have something in common,
That's
I
right.
mean, would you be more willing to give a referral to somebody from your hometown
Yeah,
or
definitely.
from your school?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
So another strategy is to look for alumni of your school that have jobs at the companies you want to work for.
Yes.
It's a great tip, yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
And right now, going back to what you said about it's a two-way street and adding value, what would you recommend for people who are freshmen, sophomores, and juniors who ask, what can I give to someone? What would you tell those students who are listening to us that don't know how they can add value?
Yeah.
Definitely. So I get this all the time, and I think that everybody has value to give, because value can be access to the right people, to the right networks, can be knowledge. Hey, I know how to code in JavaScript. That's knowledge. And you find it valuable, and I can help you, and we can exchange that. But if you're a freshman and you're just starting out, the one thing you can give is attention. So when somebody, such as a recruiter or anybody is doing a workshop, you can give them your full attention. And we'll talk a little bit about finding those events for recruitment and to network. But when you're at an event like that, what you want to do is that you want to give them your full attention. So put your phone away. So if you can bring a notebook, take notes, make the effort to actually pay attention to everything they're saying. And even when you're having a one-on-one conversation with somebody, give them your full attention. You know, so none of that thing of like looking around the room while you're talking to me, like you're looking straight at me and we're having a exchange. So give them your full attention, because people love to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I love coming to shows like this, because I get to talk about myself. So ask open-ended questions. Ask hey, how do you get to XYZ company? What's the most challenging thing right now at ABC company? And I have a great story to say about that. So a few years ago, I was at a recruiting event, and a student approached me, and she asked me, hey Hugo, so what do you do at Intel? Oh, I'm a product marketing manager. I make content so account executives can sell. And she asked me, oh, what kind of content? Oh, I make PowerPoints, decks, things like that, videos, podcasts, things of that nature. And then she asked me something that I will never forget. She asked me, so Hugo, so that sounds like a lot of work. What's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest issue you have? And she gave me her full attention, and she wasn't looking at her phone, and I could tell that she was really interested. Like she really wants this job too. And I told her that, okay, so I happen to speak Spanish and I speak Portuguese too. So in my division, whenever there's content to be made for those markets, they find me, and I need to translate it. And what happens is that a lot of the technical terminology is very difficult to translate in Portuguese, for example.
Yes.
So I told her that, and she said, oh, that's really interesting. And then we kept the conversation going, like nothing, like probably like 2-3 more minutes.
Yeah.
And can I add you in LinkedIn? Sure, you can add me in LinkedIn. Exchange that. 3 weeks later, I get a message from this student, and she told me, Hugo, it was great connecting with you and talking about your role. By the way, I found this online translation portal from the European Union that has technical terms in 42 languages.
Oh, no way.
I think you find this valuable. No need to reply. And her name.
Oh, wow.
So it's like I wanna reach across the screen and give you a hug and then give you an offer for an internship after that.
That's
So
amazing.
because the fact that she was authentic,
I love
she
it.
was
Yeah.
timely, so she did it 3 weeks later, which is not that close, not that far out. She gave me something of extreme value because she listened to what I needed.
Yeah.
And then that little thing of no need to reply is just that empathy, just knowing that as a
You're
recruiter,
busy.
as somebody that works, I get 450 emails a day. So if you can save me 5 minutes of my day by writing no need to reply, I want you to be my friend. So just being empathetic with
Yeah,
people.
one less email to worry about.
And
Yeah.
you know, I think you bring up a really important message here with networking, which is following up,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of us, including myself,
Mhm.
sometimes I forget to follow up, and it's, I think, a key aspect to networking.
Yeah.
Could you give us any more advice in following up?
Sure.
Any recommendations for that?
So, for students, for interns, I always ask them, how do you remember that you need to pay your rent? How do you remember that? How do you remember that it's time to go to the dentist and get a cleaning?
I have a reminder on my calendar.
Right.
Exactly, exactly. So we all have apps in our phones. We all have reminders apps. We all have things like Microsoft To Do. We all have the reminders app for iPhone. We all have task managers. So what I do is that I actually put reminders every Friday at 11 a.m. to
Wow.
follow up with people.
Okay.
So what it says is check my follow-up list.
Okay.
And then in OneNote, I have a list of all the people I've met.
How many people? How
Oh,
long
wow.
is that list?
So that's the thing, because my contacts list is 2,500 people. But what happens is that,
Just a
but,
few.
but again, but again, it's not quantity, it's quality.
Right.
But there's a core group of 150 people that I want to keep in touch every quarter.
Okay.
So what I do is that I look at the key folks that I haven't touched base in a while.
Okay.
So I send out those 5 to 10 emails,
Okay.
Friday at 11 a.m. And again, they don't have to be emails. They can be text messages. They can be just
phone call.
phone calls, things like that. Because the reality is that, again, right now we have access to all these apps, and oh yeah, I have 3,000 friends in Facebook, or I have 4,000 connections in LinkedIn. Do you know all of them? No. So like biologically, we're wired to only know 150 people,
Right.
because that's the top size of like an average
Yes.
tribe. So like it comes down to evolution and the way we grow. So it's not about being robotic and checking the box and just like, okay, I followed up with all the 2,000 people. That's not the goal. The goal is to look at the key people. Maybe you're looking for an internship. Okay, so let me send a follow-up to those 2 recruiters I have in my list of the 150,
Right.
like the top 150 I want to keep
Yes.
in touch with. So same thing, if I'm in a part of my life that, you know what, maybe I want to reconnect with some members of my family. I look and there's my cousins that I haven't talked to in a while.
Yeah.
So doing that as well. Because networking is not only because you want to get a job, it's relationship building. This is what you're doing here. And sometimes it's not only an email, sometimes it's, okay, I want to connect with this person, let me set up a coffee with them. Hey, can we do coffee on Monday, Wednesday? I'm open 10 a.m. onwards. So that's part of it too, like scheduling
Yeah,
events.
definitely.
So,
When you meet someone and you want to schedule like that follow up, or you know that you want to follow with that person, you said like you take those notes down. You do that like in a
Mhm.
like in a notes app or in a specific app, like in something local in your phone or something that can sync like to your email, so you sync to the computer, your desk, or whatever. How do you do it?
So there's two steps to it. So there's the capture aspect, because you have all these inputs. You have
Yes.
Instagram messages, you have WhatsApp notes, you have voice notes, you have people asking you to do stuff. So I use this app called Brain Toss.
Okay.
And Brain Toss, what it does is that is this beautiful app built by these developers in I believe it's in the Netherlands.
Okay.
And what they do is that you can take a picture of anything, or write a text, or you can take a voice note, and it will send it to any email you choose. So I actually have one set to my work email and one set to my personal email. So after I meet you at a networking event, what I do is that I take a voice note with everything I remember from our conversation, and I send it to one of those emails. And then what I do is that if it's a work contact, I take those notes and put it in OneNote, because that's my storage.
Okay.
Because capture, storage.
Gotcha.
And then the reminder is in my calendar, 11 a.m. every Friday. So
Nice.
that's how I do it.